Hi everyone, I'm Sal, co-creator of Salt and Pepper Productions,
And hi, I'm Pep, co-creator of Salt and Pepper Productions.
and we're back with another The Promised Neverland video. Today we're going to talk about Season 2, Episode 5 of the Promised Neverland anime. So let's start with general thoughts and then we'll talk about a lot of the stuff that happened in this episode. So, Pep, what did you think of this episode?
There's a big what associated with this episode because, um, well, one, I didn't expect them to do a time jump ahead about a year. Um, but two, and it was pretty interesting to see them. They're kind of like living outside a city and are a demon city and are you know, surviving, and they've learned how to interact with demons without getting caught and disguising themselves, which is pretty cool. And also, we kind of learn a reason why the demons tend to eat humans, and that's something about them not being able to maintain their form without eating people,
Right.
something like that. The details are kind of shaky. And then at the end of the episode, we get the big reveal that Norman is alive and is in the outside world and is pretending to be a demon. And what? How? When? How long? Are you the real Norman? Are you a Are you a fake Norman? Do you just look like him?
So, yeah, I'm with you on a lot of that stuff. The beginning was not what I expected. I wasn't expecting a time jump, and I didn't think we'd open on a demon village. But it's interesting that they did a time jump, and remember last episode when I was talking about how Anna wrote the wrong date down in her journal? I think I know why. I'm thinking because at the start of this episode, we see her journal, and the date is January 24th, 2047. So I'm wondering if they animated multiple episodes at once and got the dates mixed up that way. Because when they were in the shelter, the year was supposed to be 2046, but she kept writing 2047 in her journal when they were at the shelter. So maybe they were working on pre time jump episodes and post time jump episodes at the same time and got dates mixed up that way. Like, that's just me speculating based on.
Yeah, incomplete information. I kind of agree with you that that's probably what happened. I originally thought that it was probably a result of them having a time skip that they didn't end up doing and then getting messed up. But apparently, it's because there's a time skip the next episode. They just made a tiny mistake. You know, they're human. The animators aren't immune to small errors.
Yeah, and
And
all things considered, it was a small mistake. And also going off of learning that the demons eat human flesh because if they don't have good meat, they'll degenerate. It reminds me of what Mujika said about how demons, their appearances got morphed over time.
yeah,
So I wonder
which I
if
want.
that's related, if there's a connection to that.
Yeah. Um, they do say that. Excuse me. The Marjika and Shinju look relatively uh normal, or I guess as they should look, because we don't really know how they initially looked long ago before their forms got mixed up. So I wonder if the reason why their forms got messed up is has to do with the quality of the meat, or whether it has to do with um, something more mystical, like the gods accepting them eating it or not, or whether it's wild or not.
Right, because we know that the meat produced at Gracefield, the farm where Emma and the others grew up, is supposed
Yeah,
to be high quality meat for the rich, and we could tell that the demons living in that village were of a lower class, so they only got like hands and different body parts, so they don't get like the brain is supposed to be the best part or the highest quality
yeah,
meat, where they can only afford hands and I guess body parts that aren't as high quality as the brain.
yeah. Um, I think it's that those are from like that meat is from a different field and a different farm than the kids grew up at. It's like from a farm that produces lower quality meat.
Potentially.
Yeah, 'cause there were heads. They showed heads on display, so I can imagine you could buy a head if you could afford it.
It was a
Um,
creepy way to start the episode because the first shot of the episode were the dissevered heads in those containers.
yeah.
And later
I,
on, we saw hearts and lungs in those containers as well, so it's pretty disturbing.
oh yeah, it was a very disturbing beginning of the episode. I thought we were gonna get some more insight on the way the farm works because I thought they were gonna actually start out with Isabella and like her getting ready to leave to go help the kids beforehand, and they're just like paneling over like a processing facility or something.
Right.
But now they were in a demon farm. Excuse me. What was I gonna say? I think one of the interesting things um, that it could like I wonder if it's the fact that the kids are raised or actually no. What was interesting? When we got to see the that priest earlier in the episode who like came to the temple that the kids were staying at.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of mentioned that there were that the farms needed to share more meat with the villagers,
Mm-hmm.
which makes me wonder if like the farms are like a different entity or like a different miniature society than the villages are. Because and it also kind of explains what they meant by feral or wild demons, because they sort of said they talked about the if things kept going the way they would, the village would degenerate into a wild bunch of demons. So I think that basically what's happening is that the demon societies are like kind of breaking down into like feral and wild creatures, maybe kind of like that thing that ate the soldiers in the previous episode.
Potentially. And it also might tie into how, like what you were saying before, maybe the meat that they have access to is from different farms that don't produce high quality meat or that aren't as efficient as Gracefield.
Yeah, or well, less efficient, or I mean more efficient because Gracefield tends to raise like only a handful of people to eat, while a more efficient farm would raise like a lot more but have lower quality. And but the focus is different. One focused on quantity over quality, and another focused on quality over quantity.
Potentially.
Yeah, that's just my thought though. um, the well, what's your thought on the village and all that?
It was interesting. Like I said, I wasn't expecting the episode to open like that. Like we discussed in our last video, I thought the kids were going to reunite with Mujika and Sonju, but nope.
Yeah,
Jump ahead a year. Look at this new demon village. Look at this temple that they're hiding out in. And it was cool to see that they've been interacting with this old blind demon for, I think they said 6 months they've been interacting with him, and he hasn't caught on yet because he's blind, and they're also They also came up with a way to mask their scent. Like they would use these
Yeah.
herbs and burn them so the smell would mask their scent, which was interesting.
I wonder if he like might actually know that they're human, and just doesn't care for some reason. I don't know. Maybe he is kind of like Shinji, where he doesn't he's not going to kill them. Maybe he only wants to eat the meat that comes from the farms and considers them. He doesn't want to kill them himself or something like that.
Potentially. That would be
Cause he
interesting, actually, if he
Yeah,
knew.
because I can't imagine that like every time he showed up, they're like using the herbs to disguise themselves, and they've been living there for like 6 months. So I'm sure it eventually would start smelling of humans eventually.
Potentially, although they do have a security system where two people are on guard duty and would signal the rest of the group if somebody was coming, whether it be Emma and the others returning from a hunting trip or the old demon coming to offer some sacrifices to the gracious one or whatever god they're worshipping.
Yeah, but it's possible. I can't. I mean, it's just you can't completely cover up the smell. Like it would take like a lot of. They'd have to be like constantly burning herbs and incense there to like cover up their own smell.
That's
Because
true.
because demons have like almost like a dog-like sense of smell from what we've seen. Like they can smell and track people by smell.
True.
So like I can't imagine it's easy. You'd have to just like try and overload their sense of smell. Otherwise, it'd probably be pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
Because like we see later that even like a minor mess up in like their defense against smell, and those two demon brothers notice that one of the kids is human.
Right.
Which actually I feel kind of bad for them because they're trying to like take care of their younger sister, younger siblings,
Right.
and now they're dead. So what are the two younger siblings who like are completely deformed are gonna do?
Yeah, and even earlier on in the episode, when that old blind demon was praying for his family, Emma reflected on that and was like, even demons have families. So these interactions they're having with this old demon is making them see their quote unquote enemies in a new light. And I guess kind of similar to how they got a new perspective on demons when they met Mujiga and Sonju.
Yeah, I kind of like the fact that they didn't make it so that the demons are just eating people because they taste good. There seems to be like some exterior motive to why they eat people. Like it seems necessary for them in some way. It's not just like, oh, because we want to and it tastes good. It's This is a requirement for them to maintain some level of like physical form and sentience.
That's true. I mean, Sonju and Mujiga seemed healthy despite the fact that they don't eat human flesh, but like maybe these demons just aren't aware of what options there are out there, and again, like the only meat they have access to is low quality.
Yeah. It also, well, that's what kind of makes me think that it might be something related to their gods, because they do mention the like little flower thing, and that it has to bloom and all that, and it makes me wonder if like the farming of people is what brought about the curse on the demons that like that's in their religion that's not accepted, and so their gods have cursed them for doing that, and that's what's ending up happening. And Mojika and Senju haven't gotten cursed because they aren't eating people,
That would be interesting.
and because they're only eating like things that they catch in the wild themselves.
Mm-hmm.
because otherwise then, or maybe Sanju and Mojika are actually deformed in some way. We don't actually know what they're supposed to look like.
It's true.
Like maybe they're supposed to look like centaurs, and they end up either looking like horses or looking like people, and or like have feet on their head. And otherwise, it's like otherwise we don't know. Um, but I think there's probably going to be like some mildly more complicated option to it that I feel like the option is going to be something where they don't actually need to eat people, but they think they need to eat people in order to maintain their form,
Mm-hmm.
and that what's going to end up happening is that um, Emma or Ray are going to realize that and are going to try and give that information to demons to help them and Emma's going to, out of compassion, extend her compassion just from her siblings to all of the demons who are struggling and try to help them heal their deformity and inability to maintain their form, while also not eating people and kind of bring a peace between demons and humans.
Right, and maybe even try to confront the higher ups who are in charge of the farms and might be deceiving the demon population, trying to convince them that they need to eat human flesh in order to maintain a healthy appearance or to stay healthy. Like
Yeah,
maybe it's a lie that they created to justify the creation of the farms.
yeah, or maybe it was something that demons used to do, and like maybe demons were originally like a natural predator to humans, and they don't have to be. They can survive on other things. They just don't want to because the society has become so ingrained with it.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna get a vegan message still. The show is going to go vegan on us. The show is going to pop up at the end. It's going to be like sponsored by PETA.
Is there PETA in Japan?
There's gotta be. I feel like there. Hold on, let me look that up.
It's fine. We don't need to look into that now.
I'm looking up PETA in Japan. I don't know if there is PETA in Japan, but they are definitely angry at Japan.
Okay.
They're angry at everyone, but they're angry at Japan. Actually, no, that one's actually fair. They in Japan, they're talking about dolphin killing.
Oh.
Right? Yeah, no, that used to be a popular thing. I think there's been more regulation going on about it. There's like a documentary I watched in ninth grade about that,
Mm.
but I don't remember all the specifics. It's been a while since I was in ninth grade.
Mm.
But basically, it was like a large portion of fish in Japan was actually dolphin, and that was an illegal activity by international laws. And so Japan got in a lot of trouble for it, and there's been a lot of international pressure to change their regulations for dolphin hunting and whale hunting.
Mm.
Yeah, but that's besides the point. Back to the show.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
you're
let's talk about Emma and how she's dealing with the pressures of trying to be a leader to the kids. So, it's been a year since they escaped and they don't have their shelter anymore. They haven't had their shelter for a while, and they're managing. Like, they found the temple and they're able to go out and hunt and gather food, but they don't. But lately, they haven't been able to bring back as much food as usual, and Emma is beginning to feel the burden of being a leader to all these kids, and she's reflecting on how I knew this was going to be difficult. I knew that we would have to survive off the land or find a way to survive on our own once we got outside, but actually
She's
being in the situation, she's beginning to feel that pressure, and she's beginning to doubt whether she did the right thing or not.
yeah, she's having second guesses because she's worried that everyone is going to end up starving or something, and that people she I think she's having second guesses about like maybe people would have been better off if they never knew and all that. But I think at the end, I think she's going to be able to actually. I think that might be what Isabella is going to be able to leverage against her because she's going to have those doubts, and then Isabella is going to be in and be like, "Oh, well, you guys are struggling and to survive and all that. Wouldn't it have been better if you guys just came back and you guys would be taken care of for a little bit, and then you shipped off again, and it'll be fine. It'll be like it was before."
Yeah, I could see Isabella doing something like that when she shows up. And another thing is that, like, Emma realizes that because of their current situation, they can't get the kids from the farm right away because their hideout right now isn't safe enough to bring in more kids. And at one point, they took a look at the map to see how far the human world was, and it still seemed to be pretty far away. So they don't really have a plan right now. They don't really know what they're going to do next. So
I wonder if that's what's gonna like push her more in the direction of figuring out how to cohabitate with demons. Yeah,
potentially.
because she can't get to the human world and she can't go and rescue her friends, and she's learning now that the demons are like just like them. They're not just mindless monsters who want to eat people. They have families. They care about each other. And they can be kind to humans when they're not trying to eat them. So that might push her in the direction of trying to be figure out how they can cohabitate and how to get demons and humans to get along. And that she might even like start seeking out Shinji and Monika again.
Potentially. Like, she already has Ray supporting her, and she has the other kids trying to support her as well, so maybe she just needs more of that encouragement, and also
Yeah,
from her siblings, and also maybe potentially from other demons, potentially.
yeah, maybe. Um, it might be interesting because I wonder if the priest character was just a one-time insert, or whether we're going to see him continue to come back, and whether we're going to get more character interaction between him and the kids.
We'll have to
Or
see.
yeah, it'll be interesting. Which brings us to the main cliffhanger of this episode. Uh, Norman's alive. I know I kept mentioning it. He's got to be alive. He's got to be alive. But like, I didn't expect him to actually be alive. At least not so blatantly. Just like, oh hi, I'm here. Takes off mask.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was gonna be like a dramatic moment near the end of like a season or something. But nope. Like
Like, not
5
midway
episodes.
through. Like,
Yeah. Just oh hi, I'm alive. Wait, what?
yeah.
Like makes me
And
wonder.
and
Oh,
he's
go
with
ahead.
Yeah, and he was with a group. Like, he wasn't traveling alone. He was with a group, and at the beginning of the episode, we heard those two demons talking about how, oh, another farm has been attacked, another farm has been attacked, and a bunch of its children have been stolen, which kind of makes you wonder, like, does that have anything to do with Norman? Like, was Norman rescued by this group of human sympathizers? Or is he a part of the group that's been attacking farms and trying to rescue kids? Like, is there a connection?
I think that when they were talking about the kids getting free, I think they were still talking about Emma's group of kids. I don't think there were other that were being stolen. But I might also being misremembered, and you will probably find a screenshot of them talking about it and put it on the thing again.
like,
uh,
um, like, I assumed that they were talking about Well, I think they said another farm has been attacked. Like, they were talking about that, and then they jumped over to. Do you think those kids who escaped from Gracefield are still around? Nah, it's been a year. They're probably dead by now. So I think they were talking about two different things.
Okay, that's quite possible. Well, that just brings up another question. I assumed it was like the Grace Farm escape kids that they were talking about that they were still looking for. Um, but it makes me wonder then, because I kind of discounted the idea that they were like human sympathizers actually like around, because the two like options we had that could have been human sympathizers were Shinji, and he turned out not to actually want them free. He wants to eat them. He just wants he wants to eat their kids.
Right.
And William Minerva is, for all intents and purposes, dead, as far as we know, um, or appears to be dead. And he left no indication that there was like a wider group supporting him, which might have also just been because if the pen had been found by the demons, he didn't want them to like the other um, people to get like outed. But I kind of just discounted the idea of there being human sympathizers remaining in this world. So that would be really interesting to see. I was kind of that would actually make sense then if like he managed to escape. Um, I was wondering that I really didn't know how he would have gotten out if it wasn't for a group of human sympathizers. Well, actually, I feel like there would have been more evidence for like a group of human sympathizers getting him out, because usually the kids are killed at the gate, so they would have had to attack the gate, and I feel like there would have been more commotion made if that was the case.
Like, we saw Isabella lead Norman into a different room the night of his shipment. So
Yeah,
we don't know what happened after that. Did they decide to keep him around for some reason and then somehow he got rescued or escaped on his own? And like, we don't know anything about this group he's with. I mean, like, they're
yeah,
probably humans wearing disguises too, actually, but
yeah.
we don't know
Well,
what
that's
they
what I
look
assume.
like.
Um, my call is that they're going to be actually what it might be is that he could have been one of the kids who was kept. Because remember we were talking about the fact that they need they we know they have a female component. We didn't know if they had a male component or not. So it could be that he was kept as a male component, and then him, whatever they call, I'm just gonna call them brothers. Him, a couple other brothers, and then some of the sisters could have escaped together.
Right. Like maybe I'd like it if in the next episode we got a flashback showing everything that happened to Norman since the night he left the house, like to learn the
Yeah,
specifics of why he's still alive and how he managed to escape from Gracefield and who has he been traveling with? Like,
yeah,
is his group responsible for the attacks on the farms, or
yeah. I mean, if you're correct that that's what's going on, then it's more than likely that that's what's going on. It could be that there's like that William Minerva could still be alive, and or his group could still be alive, and he is actually associated with the group, which I didn't think was true, but it could very well be true. Um, yeah, I think we're gonna get a flashback either at the beginning of the episode or midway through the episode, because they still need to get out of the town.
right?
There is also the possibility that that's not actually Norman. That's like a look-alike.
So Norman has a doppelganger somehow.
Plastic surgery and dyed hair. They probably have like personality profiles, and they could have had Isabella train the person on like how to sound and act like Norman, and then
So you
you
think
know
so you think it So you think it could be an imposter connected to Isabella?
It could be. I mean, we have seen it's been a year, and there's been no indication that they've run into her. So, and there's also that like tall demon in disguise that was following, or tall demon or tall human in disguise, who was following the other two kids who ran out of the town.
Yeah, like when I saw that scene of Gilda, Dawn, Lonnie, and Toma leaving while Emma and Ray were trying to lead the other demons away, we saw that person following them, and my immediate thought was, oh, it's Isabella in disguise. But then when I rewatched the episode, I saw that that tall figure was actually a part of Norman's group.
Yeah, it could have still been Isabella in disguise, and she'd been Norman, with Norman or fake Norman. And it could all be an elaborate ruse to find out where they're hiding and then capture them again, to infiltrate the group and then work from within.
That would be actually very clever of Isabella to try to use Norman or a Norman look-alike to capture the kids.
I mean, she is Ray's mother, and she has been shown to be rather intelligent, so
But
I
then
wouldn't put it past her.
But then that would mean, in order for that plan to work, she would have to keep the disguise on at all times. So if she refused to talk or take her disguise off in future episodes, the kids might get suspicious.
Well, they could play it two ways. She could have either gotten facial surgery so she looks different, and just pretend to be a sister who ran away. She could play that she is Isabella, but she has escaped with them because they were going to kill her, and play up all on that, and just play it straight as if she just managed to um, escape with Norman before they were able to kill her.
Hmm.
Or she could just not join the group and then just be living in the area and be working through Norman rather than. Sorry, my cat is attacking my charging cable. uh, yeah, she could be working with Now my cat is attacking me. Um, Stop. um. Okay, now he's left me alone. She could she could have a couple options. She could change her look so that I've already mentioned. I was going to recap. She could change her look so she looks different, and they don't recognize her, and then maybe they could figure it out over like a long course of events. Or she could play it straight and be like, "Yeah, it's me, but I escaped because we're create a whole story about it," which I don't think she's going to do because they're going to mention the heart thing. But she doesn't know that they know the heart thing.
Right, like.
Yeah, which might be what catches her in her lie. And then the third option is that because she is in a separate group, she is not with the Norman right now, so she could just be pretending, or she could just be in the area and just not have them see her, or she could pretend to be like a demon who's allied with Norman.
If she did change her face to as a way of disguising herself, she could also just pretend to be mute so she just has an excuse not to talk or give herself away.
Yeah, that's also entirely possible. We could just get like that weird character that we know is Isabella, but is like quiet and doesn't talk to anyone else and pretends to be mute. I'm sorry, I'm constantly coming up with conspiracies because I'm always like, something's gonna go wrong, something's gonna go wrong.
How do you think the rest of the group will react when they see Norman?
A lot of tears and cries and like wondering. He's gonna have to explain how he's here. Like he can't just show up and they're gonna be like, "Oh, it's fine." They're gonna be like, "What happened? How did you get here? You're supposed to be dead. You sacrificed yourself. What happened?"
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see. Um, it's going to be really interesting to see what story he gives, and whether that story is like true or not.
Right.
What do you think? What's your opinion? How
Like
do you get out?
like I assumed it was the real Norman. Like I didn't think it was a fake. And like I said before, those two demons were talking about how farms have been attacked and children have been stolen. So I thought maybe Norman is connected to those attacks somehow. Like either he was rescued by whoever is attacking the farms, like the demons decided to keep him alive for whatever reason, and while he was being held by the demons, the farm got attacked and he got rescued, or he somehow escaped and created this group. Like the other
Yeah,
people in his group, just based on their heights, they seem to be a lot older than him though.
yeah, they're probably, which is what made me think that they're probably sisters or like brothers. No, like maybe it was just like one of him and like a bunch of sisters could have escaped,
Interesting.
or because like we know there's a lot of them, and we know that like they have to be like the top scoring of their farm in order to be considered for it. So I can imagine that given the opportunity to escape, a lot of them would. Then again, you have to wonder about like the explosive device in their chest.
Right. Like if those adults, presumably adults that are traveling with Norming, if they are from the farms, how are they alive? Because did they ever get anything implanted in their hearts? And did Norman ever get something implanted in his heart? Or
I
was
mean,
he rescued? Or did he escape before he could have the surgery for that?
that's the only more reason to assume that he was like, you know, a fake. I can't imagine that if they had a male equivalent of the sisters, um, that they would, you know, not put bombs in their chest.
Mm hmm.
Because that sounds like a very, very useful tool that I don't know why they would give up for like any population that like knows the truth.
Right.
So yeah, I that's what I gotta say on that. Norman's fake. It's not real. Because
Sorry, you,
I really. Oh, go ahead.
no, you finish your thought.
Because I can't imagine Isabella's not up to something at this point. Because she's had a whole year, and she's highly motivated, and she's quite good at what she does. She also knows the kids really well, so she could probably figure out how they would think and where they would go.
Mm-hmm.
That or is gonna find out that she failed and was killed anyway.
That would be disappointing if they did that. Like,
Yeah.
the previous episode ends with the demons offering Isabella her freedom and something else if she manages to get the kids back, and then we jump ahead and eventually find out that she failed and died off screen.
Again, that's why I think that like Ray would be a good, or not Ray, Norman would be a good fake to get like to work with the group, because he could just lead them right. They would probably follow him, and he could lead them right into a trap. Because their big skill is that they keep evading everything, so he could lead them right into an easy trap
Hmm.
because they trust him. Also, he doesn't look that much, or he doesn't look that much older.
I mean, we didn't get a very good look at him. Like,
Yeah, I know. That's just conjecture. I'm just. He didn't look too. He didn't look to me. He didn't look too much older. Because like Ray and Emma and everyone else looked older, which I
right,
thought was really cool. That they're starting to look like adults and teenagers now.
right.
Oh, that actually brings up an interesting question. What if the reason the demons are becoming deformed is because they only eat like someone under 12, and they need to eat people over like adults?
Interesting. Because, like, the the older the child, the more developed the brain is, the better it tastes, the higher quality the meat is. So that would be interesting.
And because they're only eating people who are not fully developed, they end up not developing properly themselves.
That's another interesting thing to consider. Although, like the brain is supposed to be the best part. The brain is supposed to be the thing that's constantly changing and developing as you get older, where I don't think hands like change that much as you get older. So like I don't think like I think like the difference between a 6-year-old's hand and a 12-year-old's hand isn't that much different other than size. Like I feel like the quality would still be the same.
That's fair, but like still to like counterbalance that, it could just be a written in. I mean, they don't have to follow full real world logic. They could just be like, the energy isn't correct. I mean, the world is like semi magical, so never know. They could just throw in like actual magic. I'm pretty sure we're going to see a god by the end of this show. We're going to get some communication from one of the demon deities at some point.
Potentially. Like, in season 1, they kept talking about him, the special one, and in this episode, the elderly blind demon was praying to special one, or I don't remember exactly what he said, but
I think it was like the gracious one.
Yes, the gracious one, thank you. That's what he said.
And since you mentioned that, like, they're gods, so I'm assuming that they're a polytheistic religion. I think it's going to be something kind of similar to, like, Japan. It's going to be kind of kami sort of religion. Where, like, a bunch of, like, local, like, spirits sort of things. Because, like, this is a Japanese show. But that's just my take. I do think, though, we're going to see a god at some point. Because there's going to be, like, a god who's going to be like, stop doing that. I didn't want you doing that. I don't know why you keep doing that. Or something like that. I have no idea what's going to happen.
So, I'm looking at my notes to see if I forgot to mention anything. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about regarding the episode?
I think we got the 2 big points. Or the 3. Demons have a reason to eating humans. Time skip. And Norman is alive. Those are the 3 things I want to talk about. Is there anything else you have left?
Oh, one of the things I wrote down in my notes was maybe Sonju is the one attacking farms because he wants there to be a population of wild demons out there.
Wild humans.
Wild humans. Sorry.
Yeah.
Wild
that
humans
could be,
out
that
there.
would be really interesting. That could be very interesting. Because, like, maybe he got excited about it and now he's like, wait a minute. If I free more humans, there's a bigger chance.
Right. Like, what if he ends up being connected to Norman's release or something? Or Norman's group?
But I feel like that is out of time. Because I feel like if Norman was, unless Norman was kept alive for some reason, he would have been dead before Sinju would have met the kids. Yeah, the kids. So Norman must have been kept alive for some reason. But and that's all we really know.
Like we talked about what reasons could they keep Norman alive for, and like we talked about, we know they keep the girls alive for reproduction and also to raise the kids, and in the previous episode we saw a bunch of male soldiers trying to capture the kids, so maybe they're keeping some high-scoring men alive for reproduction and also for missions like that.
Yeah. It could also, I mean, if the farms are completely separate from the rest of the society, like the farms are themselves an internal society, and the other demons are like a different society. It could be that they use the male humans, to as defense against the outside world in general, which would be weird because they were so easily defeated by the monsters.
Right. Like
They didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah, the monster uh, in the previous episode killed off those soldiers pretty quickly.
Yeah, but maybe it might also be that they just normally, if they're fighting monsters, they could be fighting in larger units normally, and this was just too small of a unit to do anything effective.
True.
It'd be interesting to see. Oh, go
Although
ahead.
the thing is, like, if Sonju is attacking farms, like, we don't know who's attacking the farms, but I feel like if Gracefield specifically was attacked, then I think the demons would have alluded to that, actually, now that I think about it. Because I feel like they were talking about two separate things in the beginning of the episode. They were talking about farms being attacked, and then they suddenly remembered, hey, whatever happened to that group of high quality meat that escaped from Gracefield? Are they still alive? Like, I feel like if kids escaped and got stolen from Gracefield, then that would have been
particular news. So it sounds like someone has been escaping people from other farms as well.
So maybe Gracefield wasn't attacked. Maybe it was just different farms that were attacked.
Yeah, that's entirely possible. Yeah, that would make sense for like. It would probably also be easier to run down the other people who are escaping rather than because they'd probably be like they'd probably have less resources to grow into like Rays and Emmas in other farms.
Mm.
You know, super intelligent 12-year-olds. Well, 13-year-olds now.
Yeah. Wow, Ray's 13 now, and Emma's probably about. Like, Emma was 11 in the first season, so she's probably like 12 now.
Yeah, she's 12. They're teenagers. They're preteens. Oh no! Ray is definitely an emo kid. The longer hair, it still just covers his eye. He has like the half eye fade.
I mean, his hair's always been like that his entire life. Like, even in the flashbacks when they were really little, his hair was like that.
Yeah, but I mean, he's had a lot of character development since then. You know, the fact that he's not trying to kill himself constantly. You know, his like suicidal obsession with getting everyone out of the farm is now like dedicated towards protecting everyone. So you might imagine, sort of as his character changes a little bit in that regard, a change in his physical appearance. But you didn't really see that, which I wonder if like.
I feel like he's not as emo as he used to be.
He still dresses it though. He still wears his hair that way. I'm just imagining by the end of the season when he's like or the series, when he's like a full grown adult, he's gonna have long hair, it's all gonna be tied up in a ponytail. And his face is gonna be like mostly like tanned, except for like one patch around his eye. It'll be like a reverse Zuko.
I think I mentioned this in a previous video, but I think his character design is the way it is. So, because he has Isabella's face, he has his mother's face, so I think his hair is like that, so the resemblance is less obvious.
That's fair. That would make a lot of sense. I still like the idea that, you know, it shows that like some of his older motivation is still there, and so he hasn't fully like let go of his willingness to sacrifice himself entirely for everyone else, and that hasn't fully gone away. and that's still why he kind of hides his eyes. He's still, it's because a lot of times in anime they use eyes, and when people wear glasses,
Mm-hmm.
when they're being deceitful, their glasses will become opaque, and you can't see their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that he's hiding one of his eyes kind of shows that he's kind of hiding a little bit of himself, and a little bit of what he's thinking and how he's feeling is kind of still hidden.
Right. Because the eyes are the windows to the soul, so.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about it like symbolically. He still has the half half his face hidden, so you can
So you
only
can't.
kind of tell.
So you can't truly see into him.
Yeah, you can only tell a little bit versus like Emma, who has like her whole face is shown. You can see and wears everything on her face. You can tell immediately how she's feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a little less so now. She's gotten better. She's become more hidden. But
Right. She's not. Like, a lot of her, I guess, optimistic enthusiasm has gone away a bit because of how hard it's been to survive without the shelter.
Yeah. Well, she's growing up a bit. She's not as much of a kid anymore. She's now a teenager, or almost a teenager, and she's also had like a lot of responsibility in making sure that everyone's okay. And they've probably had a lot of close calls as well.
Mm-hmm.
So she's growing up, and she's going through a very rough adolescence at this point.
That's an understatement.
Well, I don't know how I could properly state it. I'm giving you the synopsis of the show. Whenever you run into someone having a rough time, you'd be like, yeah, that person's having an Emma right now. Yeah. Yeah. Small face boy is still around. He's in the background still, ever lurking with a ridiculously small face. Poor boy. He's kind of like a pug, where they have like this small face, and like, I hope he breathes okay. Can eat fine. You just gotta cut it small. I think I made that joke before.
Yeah. So, any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Never trust, and don't trust Norman. Don't trust him yet. He could be a fake. Don't trust the Norman. The cake is a lie.
I guess that all depends on how next episode will go. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like if it is the real Norman, we're probably going to get a flashback explaining everything that happened to him since he's left the house.
Well, I mean, even if he is a fake Norman, he'll probably give a story about how he escaped, or could have escaped, and then that just turns out to be a lie.
Mm.
That's entirely possible as well. But like, I feel like we're going to see a lot of Ray trying to figure out if Norman is if that's actually Norman, or whether he's tricking them or something.
Right.
So I can imagine Ray being very, very, Ray needing answers as to how he's still alive.
Right.
Because that just flies in the face of everything they know.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out they weren't actually made into meat. They actually were being adopted. No, that would be stupid. This whole thing has been this whole thing has been a wild, crazy dream. We don't know why you think you're being chased by demons. Mm-hmm. You guys are just being weird at like the parking garage. It was all a dream. No, I would throw my computer if they did that.
If they did that kind of twist, yeah.
Yeah, they did. It was all a dream. It would be like, okay.
Yeah, it was all a dream. None of it was real. Like, yeah, no.
No. But it would be interesting to see what happens.
Right.
How about you? What are your final thoughts?
Well, again, I would like it if most of the next episode was Norman focused, like a flashback or something. Like, I definitely want a flashback at some point, like a detailed
Mm-hmm.
explanation for what happened.
Okay.
And again, it's also going to be interesting seeing the other kids react to Norman and finding out who are these other people Norman's traveling with.
Yeah, that's another big question because that's probably even more of a big question and like the thing that we'll be curious about besides Norman himself because we know nothing about them. It is possible that Norman survived, but we have no idea who the other people are, and whoever they are gives us a lot more detail about what's going on in the world.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I think that's all we have to talk about for this episode,
Yeah,
right?
I think so. I think I got
All right.
everything I wanted to talk about.
All right. Well, in that case, if you're still watching and you haven't turned off the video, please give us a like, comment, and subscribe. We'd love to hear you tear our theories apart, agree with us, or challenge us on if we missed something, or you just want to laugh at me because Sal over here puts something I was wrong about right on the screen as I'm talking.
Hey,
It's fair, but like still, now I gotta be careful.
don't be afraid to like and subscribe. Check out our other videos. If you haven't already, be sure to share this video, and hopefully, we'll see you again soon. Bye.
Bye bye. Have a wonderful time.